Hey guys, good evening. So it is Sunday, September 17th, okay? It's late in the evening. It is 10:52, right? And I know that we usually start our sessions off with a little inspirational music, right? And let me just explain why we're starting like this, okay? So I did today's show early this morning, and it should have been posted by 12 p.m. this afternoon. So I did the show, I did the work, and I posted it, and then I went on with my day because I had some other things planned for today, right? Guys, after my plans, right? Okay, so what happened was like, okay, so I did the video and I played it back to make sure I was on point, and I uploaded it to my YouTube page. And then I went on and did some other things, right? Enjoyed my day. And I didn't get a chance at that time. Like when I do my video, right? Because I'm not quite live yet, okay? These videos are pre recorded because, again, I am, just getting started learning technology. I didn't grow up with all this technology, and since I started my journey, right, I've had to learn quickly how to navigate through different social media websites and platforms. I had to, get familiar with YouTube in order to do my videos, right? And like I said, normally when I start out my session, let me slow down, okay? So I did the video, right? Pre-recorded. I play it back to make sure it's on point, and then I upload it to YouTube, right? And usually after I upload it to YouTube, I will watch it again on YouTube to make sure everything is good, right? So I had some other things going on. My daughter called me and told me she was going to come by for dinner right after I recorded my show and uploaded it to YouTube. So I had to quickly prepare dinner, things like that. And then of course spend that time with my family. We sat, we had dinner, and then after they left and everything was all said and done, I grabbed my laptop to play back and watch the video that I uploaded on YouTube, um, only to discover, right, I couldn't find it. I'm searching through my YouTube channel, like all my videos, and I didn't see today's video. And I thought, oh my God, now I'm thinking, did I really upload it to YouTube? Like, I went on some other social media networks, right? And did short videos, like inviting other people into the YouTube page, letting my audience know that I would be uploading a video. And I told them I had got it done early, right? So imagine the horror when here it is 10 o'clock at night and I go to my YouTube page and I don't see the video. So after, scrambling around YouTube to find today's video, like I said, it is Sunday, September 17th, right? After scrambling around on YouTube to find the video, right? I learned something else about YouTube today, guys. So like I stated, like usually I'll open my video with some inspirational music. As you guys know, I'm a big Kayla fan, right? So every video I start, I'll select an artist and a song for K-Love, right? And play for you guys to kind of like get us in the space, right? Where I can, deliver a clean, respectful, knowledgeable message, right? I have to like come down from my day. I have to get centered. I have to get my mind focused, right? And usually it goes well, right? Today I found out like a couple, not just today's video, but there was another video, not too many, but there were two videos that I'm aware of at this time that is not visible on YouTube due to some copyright issues as far as the selection of music that I choose to play, right? Now, you guys see my videos, right? And I play, you know, artist music at the beginning of every video I do, right? And a lot of those videos have gone through onto YouTube with no problem, right? I want to say there was an issue when I tried to play Lauren Diego, right? This was the other video that you guys didn't see that show because YouTube didn't clear it because of the copyright restrictions, right? I know that artist at that time was Lauren Diego, right? Today's video, I started with Elevation Worship Gyra, right? And apparently YouTube, while uploading the video, right, ran into some copyright issues and informed me that my video would not be seen worldwide, okay? Now, I've had this situation before where because of the choice of the selection of the song or the artist that I would play at the beginning of my video, right? And YouTube will send me a message and say that it is partially banned, meaning like, okay, it will be played and people can see it except in certain countries or territories or whatever, due to some copyright issues, right? But it will play locally, so that's fine for me. But today I realized today's video and another video was totally banned because of copyright restrictions. And I don't know how to take those videos, right, and just remove the first piece, right, where I start out playing the music. Like if I can just take the video, right, and cut the first piece off to eliminate the part where I'm playing the music and still go ahead and send the video, right? But I'm not that advanced in technology. Like I don't know how to do that stuff. So I need to like do some stuff on YouTube and figure out how I can prevent this from happening in the future, right? So because today's video did not post to YouTube, right? And I've already went on other social media networks and informed my audience that today's video was posted. So now I have to go back, right? And do this show again, right? So here we are, okay? I'm going to do the best I can do to recapture those moments because today's show was a really good show, guys. And, the timing was perfect. The delivery was perfect. Like, I think it was like one of my best shows ever, right? Because I told you guys when I first started, right, I was really an amateur, right? And the more we practice something, the better we get at doing it, right? And because I've been doing it for a little while now, like I've improved, right? today's video was it, guys. So I'm so disappointed, right? That you guys don't get the original, right? But I still have to give you the show, right? So here we go. So, like I said, we are going back to script. As far as the script goes, right? We left off, so on September 3rd, we talked about baby daddy, right? I thought I had this bookmarked properly, but apparently I did not bookmark it correctly. So the last show we did according to script, because mind you, I did a couple of shows, right? Since we went off script, because some things came up that I had to address and do a show around, right? So now that that stuff is out the way, we're going to go back to script. Recap. According to script, right? The last show we did was on September 14th, where I talked about relationships with girlfriends, right? So the video prior to that, I ended off talking about the relationship between my daughter's father and I, and that was on September 3rd. And then September 14th, I tried to go back to that, right? We recapped what I said about my relationship with my daughter's father. And then we went on to relationships with girlfriends, right? Because when dealing with mental health awareness and mental health wellness, right? And we're going through the categories of the things that can cause us mental disturbances, right? And one of the categories, right, when you talk about dealing with childhood trauma, like we're past that, right? So when it comes to mental health awareness, right, and mental health wellness, right, we're not only dealing with past traumatic things, okay? Because once you have done the work around those past traumatic things, right, new traumatic experience come along, right? So we don't only work through our past traumatic stuff, we have to continue on to identifying, addressing, spending time talking about the present traumatic stuff, right? So again, relationships beyond those romantic relationships, right? Because it's not always about the man, the boyfriend, the husband, the spouse, the partner, the mate. Like, there are other relationships, right, that you have to bring to the table, right? And we last left off talking about your relationship with your girlfriends, right? So here we go, okay? So on my last video, I had talked to you about a female friend of mine that I met, and she had an uncle, and she told me that her uncle, I guess he seen me somewhere or whatever. Maybe he was coming to visit her while I was there and he seen me, right? And she tells me that her uncle likes me and wants to take me on a date, okay? This is what we talked about in my last video, right? And I had sometime very shortly after that, right, found out that her uncle, right, was a 30-year-old pimp riding around with the Caucasian woman shotgun, right? And I said to this woman, right, where am I supposed to sit? Okay, so you'll have to go back to the video from September 14th and you can catch up on that whole scenario, because we don't have time for me to go over everything, okay? I'm trying to just give you guys a recap of where we left off as far as the topic of relationship with girlfriends, okay? We got to move on, okay? So I told you guys about that situation, right? I also touched on, okay, the relationship with another young woman, right, who I consider to be a very close friend of mine, okay? So we're going to pick up from there. And I hope that I do just as good without the music as I did in my show earlier today, because I feel like my show earlier today was on point. So anyway, now, as you guys, I have mentioned to you guys, right, that I am a recovering addict, okay? My clean date is March 11th, 2007, right? I had 10 years clean prior to that, okay? So I have not been more active in my life as far as struggling with street drugs than I have been clean, okay? So I had 10 years clean. My sister passed away in 2003. It took a year or two after that when I picked up and gave up my 10 years clean, right? I struggled behind losing my sister, okay? And most people in recovery with some clean time will tell you, right, that there's never a good reason to use, right? That when we pick up, we make a conscious decision, okay? Now, I don't know how much truth there is to that, but I can tell you this, right? When my sister passed away, I just checked out. Like, it was so much pain for me, okay? And I think I talked about this in a previous video, right? Not going by script. As I said, I had to get off script for a minute because some things were popping up that I needed to address, and you guys are just gonna have to go back, right? And see those clips, right? So quick recap, right? Just so that you guys are here with me, right? So when my sister passed away, right, at the age of 35 in 2003, she left 4 babies behind, right? And I talked about this, right? 4 babies, okay? That you would think that, right, when a young woman passes away and has 4 children, right, that automatically those 4 children would have came to her family. Mom, dad, siblings, somebody, right? That didn't happen. So there was so much behind my sister's passing, right? Things I knew, things I didn't know, things I learned, after her passing, things I learned right before her passing. Anyway, so there was like this whole process where I had to go through the Department of Social Services to try to find out where my sister's children were. I had to get in touch with the foster mother or the adoptive mother, and let them know, like, my sister has a sister. I am here. I've always been there. I need to have access to my sister's children. And, it was just so much, guys, so much. You have to go back and watch that video, okay? So for me, right, I didn't just lose my sister once. I lost my sister twice, okay? And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that, okay? So first, my sister, right? She passed away and I had to bury my sister, right? And that was painful enough, right? But then trying to get custody of her 4 babies, right? Actually, it was only 3 because one of them, he was already of age. He had already been adopted. He had been adopted for some time. Yes, I had a relationship with him. He was in and out of my life. Like I said, I am not well when my flesh and blood, right? I always need to know where they are. I always need to know if they're safe, if they're happy, if they're okay. You know, how are they being cared for, right? So even though my sister's first son had been adopted and had been adopted for many years, like I went through this process with my sister with her first son, as far as him going into the state and being adopted and having to contact social workers and foster mothers or adoptive mothers, you know, requesting that they allow me access to my sister's children. So anyway, like I said, when she passed away in 2003, you know, that was hard enough on me. But then a year or 2 later, like, because I had found my sister's children, I was in contact with my sister's children, and for whatever reason, the foster mother or the adoptive mother, right, after allowing me to have contact with my sister's children, you know, she was allowing me to visit my sister's children. She would let me call them and talk to them on the phone. I was always respectful. Like I said, at that point, I had 10 years clean. I was not active. I was somewhat stable-minded. Like, I'm trying to think, I think I was aware of my mental health situation. I had already addressed it. I was doing well. I had a good job. For whatever reason, right, the foster mom had stopped answering my calls. She had stopped returning my calls. I lost touch with my sister's children, you know, beyond things beyond my control, right? And for me, that was like burying my sister a second time, you know, losing my sister's children. My sister's gone. Like, all I have left of my sister is her children. And now they're gone. You know, so it was like double the pain. Like, I don't know. It was just so much for me, guys. And, you know, again, there's never, ever a reason to make a conscious decision to turn to street drugs, right? But at that time in my recovery, right, with my 10 years clean, right, I had stopped doing that daily maintenance work. And when real life showed up, I couldn't handle it. Like, I know now after going through that experience, right, that if another family member, and I have lost family members since then, right, that it hurt me, right, but it didn't cause me to use, right? Like, I know now, like, I have 18 years clean. And I've gone through some stuff clean, right? See, the difference is, like, you know, we continue to grow, we continue to mature, we gain more wisdom, we gain more knowledge, we become more disciplined. Okay? So anyway, moving on. So my best friend, right? Like I said, I am a woman in recovery. We have a program. We go to meetings, right? Wherever I go to, city, state, like, the first thing I do when I move to a new environment, right, is find a meeting. I need to know where the meetings are. I need to know where the recovering addicts are. I need to know where my people are. You know, this is part of what keeps me clean. You know, because some things we can't do alone. We need that support, right? And people who are not addicts, like family members or friends who are not addicts, like, there's some stuff that they just don't understand that you get from other recovering addicts who have been there before you, who have done the work, and there's this thing called sponsorship, right? We sponsor one another. So anyway, so I used to live in Springfield, Mass, and some stuff happened I didn't use. I ended up relocating here to Rhode Island, right? I came here with some clean time. I have never ever used while I lived in Rhode Island, and I've been here since 2019. And like I said, I had a few years clean when I came here. But anyway, so when I moved to Rhode Island, right? Like I said, I moved to a new state. I needed to know where the meetings are. I needed to get familiar with meetings. I needed to get familiar with other recovering addicts in this new environment. I needed to start like reaching out to people in those meetings, building a network, building relationships with other recovering addicts, right? So since I've been here in Rhode Island, right? And I had been going to meetings and meeting people, right? So I met a woman, right? She has a good amount of clean time. I have like 18 years clean. She has like 20 something years clean, right? She's in her 40s, like her mid 40s. I'm in my mid 50s, right? And we crossed paths in our program, right? And she reached out to me and she wanted to be my friend, right? And because I had gone through so much stuff in my life, guys, you have to read my book, God's Gift to You, right? Like life has taught me some stuff. Like one of the things life taught me was, you know, when meeting new people, I have to tread lightly, right? Because sometimes that wall goes up, you know, that wall of protection, fear, the unknown. So when this woman met me and reached out to me and wanted to befriend me, that wall went up. I wasn't sure. I was just like, you know, I ran. And she has a friend, right, that is also a friend of mine. And I guess she had a conversation with this friend and was telling this friend how she tried to reach out to me, but I was like running from her, whatever. So my girlfriend called me and had a conversation with me about this woman. And she's like, you know, I know her. She's a loving, caring person. She's a good person. You know, I think you should just give it a shot. Okay. So the next time this woman and I crossed paths, we had a conversation. You know, we started working on our friendship. And, you know, our first night together, right? We decided to go out together to a club. We're going to go out. We're going to have a good time. You know, we did. We went out. We had a good time. Everything was fine. We clicked, right? She drove. I was a passenger. Night went on. At the end of the night, leaving the club, right? She's got to take me and drop me off because she drove, right? I do have a car, but she drove. On the way home, she calls her boyfriend, right? And jokingly, right, says to her boyfriend, because you guys know when we get into these relationships with men, like, you know, to try to spice things up, like we do these things with our mates, right? So she called her boyfriend, right, and was telling him that she met a young woman. The woman is very pretty, and she thinks he will like her. She was jokingly talking about a threesome, right? Now, mind you, I just moved to this environment. I don't know any of these people, right? I don't know her. I didn't say anything while sitting in her car and listening to this conversation with her boyfriend, right? I just sat there quietly. I listened. When she dropped me off at my house, I took off running. I was like, oh no, I'm all set. So when she tried calling me, I would ignore her calls. I wouldn't pick up. I wouldn't call her back. And this went on for some time. And somewhere along the time, right? Somewhere along that time, she and I ended up in the same vicinity together. And we had a conversation, and she told me she was just joking. She was just playing, right? And that's all well and good, right? But I'm the type of person, right? You don't know me, and I don't know you. And maybe you might have been joking, right? But I don't know you that well to have even considered that you might have been joking. And even if you were joking, right? Don't joke with me like that. I've been through some stuff. And because she didn't know me that well, to know that I've been through some stuff, right? It didn't dawn on her. So anyway, that was that scenario. We spent years together. Like, I've gone through stuff with her. She's gone through stuff with me. Like, I have witnessed her in relationships with men, right? And I've witnessed her go through some stuff in her relationships with men, right? And I've seen some relationships, really one, because she was in a long-term relationship, and I seen that relationship fall apart and what she had to go through, right? Because when you love someone and you care for someone, right, and you with someone and you're with somebody for some time, right, you're gonna go through feelings when that relationship ends, right? Now, the same thing with me. Like, she knows me, right? She knows, like, the men I've been involved with. She's witnessed my relationship with men. She's watched me navigate through the dating world, right? She supported me when I was involved with someone as well. And when that relationship fell apart, it was devastating to me, right? And we were there for each other through that whole process. She is a loving, caring person, guys. She's sweet. She's God-fearing. She loves hard. She goes hard for people she loves. Like, I spent time in her house. Like, she has held me down through stuff, right? I know her family. Like, we're tight, right? Anyway, another scenario, right? So one night, we decided we were going to go out, right? We got dressed up. And that girl can dress, right? She loves clothes. She does like fashion shows, Rip the Runway. She loves that stuff, right? I don't do fashion shows and Rip the Runway. Like, she be trying to get me to do it, but that'll be the one time I fall flat on my face. We're not doing that. So anyway, so yeah, I mean, I got dressed. Like, I had on this black dress, right? No straps, off the shoulders, lace, classy, right? It had a like silk, it was a black dress. It had a silk black ribbon tied around, like underneath the high waist. Y'all ain't seen me dressed up with, clothes and makeup and hairdos, right? We was bad, right? So anyway, we go to the club, right? And I'm out there on the dance floor dancing by myself, enjoying my time, enjoying being out of the house, enjoying the scenery, enjoying the music. I love music. I love to dance, right? There was a young man, right, there who had approached me and asked me to dance with him, right? And I said, no, thank you. I didn't want to dance with a man. I just wanted to be by myself, enjoy myself, dance by myself, whatever. This man stayed in my face, right, the entire night, right? So at the end of the night, right, my girlfriend and I, right, we're leaving the club. We're walking to her car because we're about to go home. Tell me why this man followed us all the way to her car, right? She was driving, so she got in the driver's seat. I was riding shotgun. I went with her. I'm in the passenger seat. The guy is standing on my side of the car with his hand on the door, right? Having a conversation with her over me, right? The guy is trying to get me to give him my number, or at least for me to take his number. He wanted us to exchange numbers, and I'm like, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you. She is trying to convince me to take his number, right? And I keep telling her, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. So she says to him, well, give me your number and I'll give it to her later. He gives her the number. He goes on. We have a conversation. And I'm telling her, I don't want the number. And she's like, well, just take it just in case. There will never be an in case. I don't want the number. That was that night. Some time passed, right? Another situation, right? So she and I made plans, right? We were going to go to another club, right? We were going to meet up at the club. Fine. I decide to bring one of my female cousins with me, right? So I'm driving my vehicle, right? I went and picked up my female cousin. We head to the club. She was going to meet me there. I get there. She's not there, but she's on her way, okay? She gets there with her sister and her sister's husband, right? And I noticed there's like another gentleman, right? Hanging around her party, sitting at her table, right? I don't know why. I just thought maybe it was a gentleman friend of hers, and I don't know if they was just out as friends or if there was some interest there involved. I don't know, right? So I go on with my night. We have a good time. She and I, she's on the dance floor. I'm on the dance floor. Like, we had a good time, right? The night ends. I go and take my female cousin home, and I come home, right? I think like a day or two later, right? The wheels in my head start turning, right? And I start remembering, right? Now, mind you, I don't drink, I don't smoke marijuana, I don't do any drugs. I'm also on a mental health medication, right? So even if I wanted to have a drink or smoke weed, you know, at some point you gotta think about what's more important, right? Your mental health, or do you want to continue to drink alcohol and smoke weed, right? We got to make some choices, right? When you have a mental health condition, right, and the doctor prescribes you meds, right? Prescription meds and street drugs do not mix. They do not mix. Okay? And I take my mental health seriously, okay? Anyway, head starts turning, right? I realized it's the same guy from the club before, right? Come to find out, she knew him. She knew him. And I don't know if she brought him along in the hopes that he and I would. No. No. That was that time, okay? This is the second situation, okay? We're going to move on to the third situation. Some time had passed, right? And my girlfriend and I, like, I was trying to plan a trip for her and I, right? To go to like Las Vegas, you know, like get out of the neighborhood, get out of the community. We both have jobs. We both have adult children. Like let's just go, me and you, and just go somewhere and just enjoy ourselves, right? So she, after a couple of conversations of us planning, right? She says to me she wants to bring a male friend of hers along, and I'm like, why? And she's like, oh, well, he's familiar with Las Vegas. He can show us around. He knows all the happening places. This is a trip that's supposed to be me and my best friend, right? I don't need a man to come and show me around anywhere. Like, we're both adult women. We can figure it out, right? So I didn't like that, right? And it was the same guy. It was the same guy, right? Moving on. She's a very beautiful woman, right? But she's dark skin in complexion, right? I'm light skin in complexion, right? And, I hate to keep going back here, right? But this is where the world brings us, right? This is like scrunched up because it's wet and curly, and I didn't do much. But if I blow dry this hair out, okay, this is just this front piece, right? If I blow dry this hair straight, right? Anyway, she says that I'm eye candy. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with street language, and I'm not going to explain it to you. Like, those who know, right? She says I'm eye candy. I had a conversation with her, right? And I'm like, why are you always trying to pimp me out? Again, another street language slang, right? If you know, you know. For those who don't know, I don't have time to explain it, right? So I've had a conversation with her about her always trying to hook me up, right? Because she loves me, right? And she sees that I struggle in the dating world, like trying to find a decent gentleman to date. And right, because she's a loving and caring person and she wants to see everybody happy, right? But sometimes, right? Now, we're going to go back to the other friend that I told you wanted me to date her uncle, who was a 30-something-year-old pimp, right? Sometimes our girlfriends, right, may have the best intentions for us, right? And want the best for us, and they want to help us or support us or whatever, right? But sometimes their mentality, right? Now I'm going to tell you this, right? This same girlfriend, right? She did suggest someone to me, and I took the bait and I went for it, and it was the worst thing I've ever done. Okay? So, would I ever take dating advice from you again? Nope. I did one, and let me tell you guys, it was bad. Not physically, not in that sense, but it was bad. Okay? So, no, thank you. I don't want you to hook me up, right? And we have had this conversation many times, right? I've had this conversation with her many times about trying to pimp me up, trying to hook me up. Moving on, right? Same friend, right? She is a loving and caring person, and I do love her, guys, right? But we got to deal with people with where they're at, right? So, another time, right? So she and I had made plans to meet up for lunch, right? And she's done this many times, right? So I'm thinking, great, I'm going to get to see my best friend. We're going to go break bread together. We're going to have some time, that one-on-one time. We're going to talk about some stuff. Like, it's going to be great, right? I get there, and she brought her cousin with her, which is fine. That's your cousin. Cool. But the problem I have with people, right, when you make plans with someone, right, you plan on being able to enjoy each other's company, right? And maybe you have some things you want to talk to me about. Maybe I have some things I want to talk to you about. But when you show up with other people, right? Now I can't have that time with you. Now I can't have those conversations with you. When I make plans with someone, right? I show up by myself. Because maybe you want that one-on-one with me. Maybe you got some stuff you need to talk to me about, right? But if I show up with somebody you don't know, are you going to be comfortable opening up some stuff to me? Confiding in me when there's someone else there that you know nothing about? Moving on. While in recovery, right, I met another woman, right? And I heard this woman share, right? And I thought, oh my God. I asked her to be my sponsor, and she accepted, right? Now, mind you, they say in recovery, right, sponsorship works both ways, right? And I get, like, when you meet someone, right, they have a life, right? They have a life, they have things going on in their life, right? Fine. When you sponsor someone, right, you form this bond with this person, right? Because for those who don't know, when we say we sponsor each other, right, in this program, right, this program comes with textbooks and mental health awareness and mental health wellness. We talk about journaling, right? This program has textbooks, right? There's a step working guide, right? And this book, right, it gives you some scenarios and it asks you some questions, right? So you're talking deep personal stuff, right, with this person, right? And because the two of you are like sharing some deep, intimate stuff with each other, right? You form that bond, right? You grow to love and care about each other, right? Now, this person, right? She has seen some things, right, about me, right? When it comes to my mental health, when it comes to my dating life, failed relationships. Like she's seen me go through some stuff, right? And I've seen her go through stuff, right? Because she's in a relationship, she has adult children, right? And now I told you guys, right? I came here with some clean time, right? So I've done step work before. I've done sponsorship, okay? But I found myself, like, I needed stuff from my sponsor, right? But I found myself more or less sponsoring her more than she was sponsoring me. In other words, like, I wasn't getting what I needed from that sponsee relationship, right? Now, this is the type of woman, right? While she's sponsoring me, right, I would call her. She wouldn't answer the phone. I would leave her messages. She wouldn't return my calls. I would text her. And they got this thing with this phone, these new phones that they do, right? When you call someone, right, that person can hit that button and it'll say, like, I'll call you right back, or I'll call you later, right? She'd never call. I'm talking a woman that, right, during our sponsee relationship, right, she has like at the time she had a middle-aged daughter, right? And she had to work and something happened and she couldn't, like, find someone to stay in the house with her middle-aged daughter. And she asked me to. Sure, I don't mind. Now, my daughter was already grown and out of the house, right? I lived alone, right? So sometimes we get in these relationships with these men, right? And if you have children in the home, right? And you're dating someone and you're going through stuff with someone, right? That may not even be your stuff, right? But it's affecting your household, right? It's affecting your children. Like it's seen, it's evident, right? And like I said, I was going through stuff too with men that I chose to date, whether they were good choices or bad choices, right? And like I said, my daughter was already grown and out of the house, right? So it didn't directly affect her in that sense. But I know that in a way it might have, because on days that she would see her mom sad or irritated, you know what I mean? Like it does affect us, right? So it affected her in a way, like if she ever seen me sad or, going through some stuff, but she didn't live in my home, right? Where I'm going with all this, right? Like I said, right? I've done some stuff for this woman. So I felt like we were here, right? Do you know, right? This lady, right, that never answered my calls, never returned my calls, right? Later in life, right, she ended up with someone else who I know, okay? Who I know. Like, I have gone out to events with her and her spouse, or her, at the time, her man, right? I know her man. Like, my friends are her friends. Like, we all know each other, right? Do you know she got married and didn't invite me to the wedding? She didn't even invite me to the wedding, right? When she was like ignoring my calls, like, I don't know if something happened between me and her. Like, maybe something happened between me and her that I don't know about, right? I don't know. Like, my point is, right? I would see her on social media, right? Out and about with other people, right? Other girlfriends, right? Going places, doing things, right? People pick and choose who they want to be around, who they want to be friends with, right? So bottom line is, I ended up like just backing up from that relationship because I got to protect my mental health, right? So sometimes, right, we get into these relationships with our female friends, right? We bond with them. We spend years together. I've went to your house and sat down with your family and we had dinner together. I seen things, that went on between you and your old relationship, witnessed things, supported you through stuff. Like, I'm a good friend. Like, I went all out, right? Some people don't reciprocate, right? And that's okay, right? It's okay, right? Because I can't control what other people do and say, right? I can only control what I do and say, right? So I ended up backing up from the relationship. Like, we're just not, right? And then my best friend, because she's friends with her, was trying to talk me into having a conversation with this woman, and trying to figure out with this woman, like, what went wrong between us, where did it break down. She just kept insisting that I have a talk with this young woman, right? Years went by, right? Years. And out of the blue, the woman texts me. She wanted to have a conversation, right? And here we go again. Like, to me, right? If you wanted to have a conversation with me, my number never changes, guys. I've had the same number. Oh my God. If you really wanted to have a conversation with me, why would you not pick up the phone and call me? Why would you text me? And I've seen this behavior, like with her and some of our other friends, right? Where she would make amends to those other females. Like, she was like trying to, right, hold on to those friendships, right? I guess those women were more important to her than I was. And I know when people see this video, right? Because I live in an environment where we all know each other. We all know each other. And I may or may not get some phone calls, right? But this isn't about, throwing anyone under the bus, degrading anyone. This is about, right? Regardless to what happened, right? You have friends that you love and you care about, right? And when those relationships fall apart and you make the decision to walk away from them, like, it's okay because I got to do what I got to do for me, right? But that don't mean it didn't hurt. That don't mean it didn't hurt. Like, the intent was not there to cause harm, but the harm was caused, right? So anyway, after years went by, she texted me, she wanted to have a conversation with me. And I was just like, you know what? I'm busy. It had been too long. You had let it go so long that, like, I forgive you and I still love her, right? And I still want the best for her and I still want to see her happy, right? But I don't surround myself around people, right? Because like I said, not everybody knows how to be a friend, maintain a friendship, and maybe they got some stuff going on, right? But again, like, sometimes, right, we'll go through some stuff, right, over somebody else's stuff. Like, it's not even my stuff. I got my own stuff going on. I have enough to deal with. We're not doing that. Now, has she reached out to me maybe a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later? It's been years. And the only reason why, right, is because my other friend who knows the both of us, right, has been having conversations about the situation. So is she reaching out to me because she is sincerely sorry? Is she sincerely aware? Or is it just because we have a friend that we both share, right? And that friend had a conversation with her. Don't apologize to me because somebody else told you should. If it's not genuine, if it's not sincere, I'm happy, guys. I'm so happy. So we talked about relationships with females, right? And I'm going to tell you guys this other scenario, right? It has nothing to do with the people that I already spoke on. We're moving on from that, right? This is about a young woman, right? When I lived in Boston, I had a very close friend to me. Very close friend to me, right? And over the years, like, life changes, situations changes, circumstance changes. I ended up moving out of Boston and relocating to another state. I have friends, like, from my childhood, right, that I was very close with, right? And sometimes, like, you could be real close to people and you could spend, like, years together, right? And then when you guys grow up into adulthood, right, some people act like they never knew you. How about that? And this is what I mean by, relationships beyond the spouses, the mates, the boyfriends, the husbands. There's so much, guys. So much. We're going to move on. Earlier in my show, I talked a little bit about my relationship with my adult daughter, right? And I need to be very careful, right? Because, like, whatever I shared with you guys earlier, right? surrounding the relationship with my grown daughter, right? I have to try to get back into that headspace. I know where I want to go with this, right? So let's go, right? My adult daughter, I love her so much. She is truly like a mini me, but better. She don't like to like acknowledge any parts of her being like her mom. My daughter, right? Again, like sometimes relationships with your children can cause you some, I'm trying to be careful with the word I want to use. You know, relationships with our grown children, right? They will challenge you guys. They will challenge you guys. Not intentionally, not to be mean. You know, we raise our children to be a certain way, right? I raised my daughter to be very outspoken, to, you know, to speak up for herself, to protect herself, right? That stuff turns around back on us, right? She is so outspoken when it comes to me. I be like, just, ah. Like, I taught you to be outspoken to protect yourself from harm against other people. I didn't mean you to be so outspoken with me. I'm your mom. Anyway, so with my daughter, right, I'm going to tell you this, right? I was in a long-term 18-year relationship with a young man, right? I was like 20, just turning 21 when I met him. He was 19 years old, right? My daughter, right, she was still in diapers because things didn't work out with me and her dad, right? She was still in diapers, and I got into this relationship, right? And I spent 18 years of my life with this man, right? And this man, right, he doesn't have any children of his own, right? And he took to my daughter. His family took to my daughter. They took her in. They took me in. And the relationship that my daughter has with that man, like even though me and that man is not together anymore, and she knows her biological father, and she has a relationship with her biological father and his whole family, and it's a loving, caring relationship, and she knows that's her father. But that man that I was with for 18 years, to her, that will always be daddy, right? And there's nothing I can do, and I don't have the right to stop it. I was with him for 18 years, right? But I'm going to tell you this, right? When me and this man split up after 18, 19 years of being together, right? My daughter went through some feelings, right? And I get that, right? It was a scary time for us all, right? She was like on her way out of the home going to college, right? When all this took place, right? And my daughter, right? Her behavior towards me changed, right? And we had some tough times, right? Surrounding my separation from my 18-year relationship with the man who she refers to as daddy, right? She lashed out on me. You know, it was a lot of stuff going on. Like it was surrounding that period of time when my sister passed on in 2003. Um my sister passing, guys, really changed me, right? Really changed me. And so my young, almost adult daughter, right, was dealing with watching her mother change, okay? And then the separation between me and the guy that I was with for 18 years, right? There was so much going on, so many changes, right? And I tell my daughter all the time, her feelings are valid. Guys, don't ever deny your children their feelings, okay? You may not like them. They may be challenging to you. But you have to let those children feel what they feel, right? And process what they need to process, as difficult as it may be. It got so bad that I had to tell my daughter, like, give her a little reality check, right? I get that you bonded with this man, right? I get that this man, right, has been loving and caring and decent to you, right? And took on that role of fatherhood, right? But what she needs to understand, right, is he only did that because he was with me, right? And you know, when you're young and you got children, right, and a young man comes into your life, right, and he wants to be with you, right, and you got kids, that's a package deal. It's not like he did it out of the goodness of his heart, right? He was 19, I was 20. We were in love. I had a daughter in diapers. He had no children. So I had to let my daughter know, like, as angry as you may be at me for leaving my 18-year relationship, right? And as much as you want to love and care and protect this man who has been there and raised you for 18 years, right? He is not your daddy, biologically. I am your mother. He was only there because of me. And you just happen to be part of the package. And I know this sounds mean and harsh, right? But like I said, sometimes the truth hurts, right? Now, I'm not talking to a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old girl. You're almost a woman now, right? So you're going through changes too, right? And since you want to act like a woman, then mama going to have to talk to you like a woman, honey. How about that? And even though, right? See, when you're in a relationship with a man, right? People only see that outside stuff, right? They can only see so far into that relationship, right? And I had to tell my daughter, right? While that man did what he was supposed to do, right? By being in a relationship with a woman who had a child, right? While he did what he was supposed to do, right? There were some things that he wouldn't do. Like, yeah, they play that daddy role real good, right? But there's some things that those men who are not the biological fathers, right? There's some things that they will not do, right? And we as women, right? We're going to make it happen. You ain't got to do it. That's my child. My responsibility. Yes, I love the fact that you have bonded with this woman, this child, and he was somewhat a good person. I'm not going to say he was a good person, right? But again, when I met him, he was 19 years old. I was 20, right? And as the years went by, like, we had to navigate through some stuff individually and navigate through some stuff as a whole, because what we go through individually in a relationship, right, it does affect your partner, right? Sometimes we go through stuff, right, when we're in a relationship, right, and this person is going through some stuff that has nothing to do with you, right? But you are that person's mate. Like, you are there to love, care, protect, nurture, guide. You're there to do all this stuff, right? So all this stuff this person is going through, even though it's not your stuff, you are affected by it, right? You are affected by it, right? So that's why I said, like, sometimes we go through stuff that's not even our stuff, right? And it affects us mentally, right? So I'm talking about, right, raising a young child, right, with a man who is not the biological father. He did the things that he needed to do to stay in that position, right? As far as, loving me, supporting me, being there for me, taking on the responsibility of playing the father role, right? But like I said, there was some stuff, right, that he was not, there was some stuff he was not willing to do, right? So, as a biological mother, right, there is so much, right, that my daughter don't know about, right? Things that I had to do, right? Being that mommy and daddy when I'm in a relationship with a man, right? I'm talking about like her financial future, right? I'm talking about when she's like 12 years old, right? And she has school, she has activities, right? And there are public buses, right? But if she has a mother who has a car, right? And her mother is in a long-term relationship with a man who has a car, right? Why would my baby ever have to catch a bus? Like, there was some times, right? I had to work on Saturday. I worked in a doctor's office, right? And sometimes, we opened the clinic on Saturday. So Saturday morning, I had to go to work. He would be home in bed sleep. And I would say to him, my daughter would have, like, I don't know if it was like dance lessons or it was something, right? And I would ask him, like, babe, I got to go to work by like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Janaea has such and such to do. Can you take her? And he'd tell me, why can't she take the bus? Let me get this straight, right? Now, when I say this man and I shared a place together, right, it was always my apartment. It was always my house, right? So you're living in my house, right? You're sleeping in my bed, right? And I have to go to work, right? And I have an 11, 12-year-old daughter who has somewhere to go. And you're going to tell me, why can't she take the bus? And I know this is like probably revealing to my daughter, but my daughter's 34 years old, honey. And growing up as a child, right, she didn't know everything about her mother or her relationship that her mother had with her man, right? She just sees mommy and daddy, right? And this is why sometimes, right, relationships with our children can cause us trauma. Because not only are we dealing with the stuff we need to deal with as adults, right? We still got to protect those little ones. We still have to teach them, guide them, protect them, love them, care for them, right? No matter how they see us. Because sometimes they don't really see all of us. So they're acting out on what little information they have, right? I've been through some stuff with my daughter, guys. And let me just say, right, because my daughter gets real offensive, right? And goes into defense mood real quick, right? I love my daughter with all my heart. She is my only child. You guys got to read my book, God's Gift to You, right? She doesn't know what a gift she is to me. She doesn't know how, oh, that kind of love that all you can do is go, oh, my baby girl. She and I have a good relationship, right? And I'm going to tell you something about my daughter, right? This is why I'm so proud of her, okay? So my daughter, right? She was like 11, 12 years old when my sister passed away, right? She's known my daughter her whole life, right? She's had a relationship with my sister, right? Her whole life, right? My sister was my only sister, right? My daughter loved my sister, okay? Can you imagine what it's like to be 11, 12 years old, right? I think she might have been older than that. I don't know. Like, there's just so much, guys. But just stay with me, right? That's not the point. The age, it's around that time, right? My daughter, right, during her adolescent years, managing middle school, high school, living in a new state, away from home. Nope, same state, Massachusetts, but like 2 hours outside of Boston, right? Even though she got to go home and visit quite often, it's still not the same as living in those neighborhoods, like, and having everyone around you, right? So and then some things, you guys got to read my book. I can't even really get into stuff, right? I'm trying to talk around stuff because I don't want to give away the book. I'm telling you guys, it's some juicy stuff. It's some juicy stuff, right? Real quick, right? Because we're pushing time, right? My daughter, right, had to manage her own feelings surrounding the loss of my sister, who she adored. Watch her mother, okay, go through some stuff behind losing my sister, right? Watch my parents bury their first child, right? Watch my family members mourn. My sister was the first cousin. I'm the second. She was the first cousin. My cousins, my aunts, my daughter had to witness all this, right? My daughter had to watch me, right? Even in as a young adult, we're going back younger, right? When things started happening to me as far as my mental health, and I didn't know what was going on. And I was scared. My daughter has seen some behaviors from me, right? She has seen me through my entire journey, dealing with mental health issues, struggling with a drug addiction. I have family members, right, that also suffer from mental health illnesses and battle the disease of addiction, right? And my daughter seen all this. She's seen my sister when my sister was alive, right? Go through her stuff, right? And when my sister lost her battle, right, between the mental health conditions and the street drugs, right, my daughter told me then that she had made her decision that she would never use drugs, right? My daughter's smart, guys. She's so strong. smart. And even though she had to see, like, the stuff that I had to go through surrounding my mother, right? That after being away from my mom, right, for so many years, right? And then like going back home and finding mom again and having to rebuild this relationship and and heal the wounds and address all the stuff, right? My daughter's seen all that. She's seen all that. And let me tell you, she loves my mother. She is a grandma's baby, guys. She loves my mom. She loves my dad. She does things for my parents that I don't even have to ask. She's such a good girl. Such a smart girl. So strong. So strong. So, I really hope I did this video justice, right? We're going to recap, right? We're talking about mental health awareness and mental health wellness, right? We talk about the things, right? The things, right, that cause us mental stress, mental trauma, right? Dealing with those relationships that cause us harm, right? And it's not that we're holding on to stuff, right? Because we got to learn to let some stuff go, right? But don't let it go without learning your lesson. Don't let it go without getting the knowledge. What did it teach you? What did you get out of it? I can just go on down the line of relationships with girlfriends and, situations beyond our control and how they affect us. There's so much. I'm in my 50s. I've been doing this a long time. Long time. Right? Wellness is a journey that never ends. Right? You think you're done because you've done the work on those past traumatic stuff, right? What about the recent traumatic stuff, right? Real quick, right? And this is where we're going to end and we're going to pick up again, right? Real quick. Now we're talking about relationships, right? We ain't even touched on, right? Those relationships with those co-workers. Okay? I, right, have a long, lucrative career in the medical field, right? At 19 years old, I was working for Boston's Children's Hospital, right? From there, I went to Brigham and Women's Hospital. From there, I went to Beth Israel Hospital. I've worked in primary care settings, specialties. The list goes on, right? And I'm going to tell you why I'm bringing this up, right? So you have your blue collar fields, right? In the workforce, right? There's blue collar and there's white collar, right? And I have a long, lucrative career in white collar, working in doctors' offices, right? And when you work in doctors' offices, not so much now because more men have been becoming like medical secretaries and medical assistants, right? But years ago, right, that profession was dominated by women, right? You go to a doctor's office, all you see is women, medical receptionists, medical secretaries, medical assistants. After going through my empty nest syndrome, right, when my 18-year relationship ended, and the daughter went off to college, right? You go through this empty nest stage, right? Because your whole identity, right, was focused around, like, the long-term relationship or the years of marriage, being a mother. Your whole identity, right, was centered around that, right? And after 20 years or so, right, when the relationship comes to an end and the children grow up and go off to college, right, and you find yourself home alone, right, it's like, what do I do with myself now, right? I got some new ideas. I wanted to try something new, right, because I'm reinventing myself, right? So I ended up leaving working as a white collar in the workforce, right? And switching over to working in the work field under blue collar, right? And let me tell you the difference, right? The difference is, right, when you work in blue collar, right, you got male co-workers now. Male co-workers, female co-workers, all in this workplace, working together, right? And some stuff is going to happen. Oh, yeah. Those relationships at work with male co-workers, with female co-workers, the relationships between you and supervisors, management, directors. Yes. Don't get me wrong, right? I love my job, right? I love my coworkers, right? But stuff happens. Stuff happens, right? Like, I always tell my coworkers, like, we're just like one big family, right? I mean, think about it, right? You fight with your spouse or your boyfriend or your loved one, your mate. You fight with your children. You fight with your friends. Well, guess what? We co-workers fight too, right? You spend more time at work with your co-workers, right, than you do anywhere else. You think everything's gonna go smoothly? Yeah. Trauma happens at work too, honey. We are so going to get into that, you guys. I'm telling you, we got so much to cover. I'm going to be here forever. And I love it. I love it. Because let me tell you one thing this life has taught me, right? I work best under pressure. And let me tell you God's gift to me, right? With all these years of learning, going to school, in the field, working hands-on, dealing with co-workers, managers, management, the public, patients. I also worked as a cashier. I would work in the doctor's office during the day, and when my daughter was young, there were times when I had to get a second part-time job where I worked as a cashier. So when you talk about dealing with the public, I qualify. How about that? Oh, man. You guys. I'm going to end, right? I'm going to end with this one thing, right? And we are going to, when I come back on our next session, we're going to pick off with the co-workers, right? We're going to go through some of that stuff. But I want to tell you this, right? I was on the phone with my brother probably like a day or two ago. I feel like deja vu. I feel like I told you guys this already. But because certain videos didn't clear, right? So I don't know if you guys got that information or not. I'm going to have to go back and review the material from the 2 videos that didn't clear, that you guys may not have access to, right? I got to figure some stuff out, right? But I'm just going to say this, right? So I had a phone call with my brother a day or two ago, right? And he says, Johnny, You gotta let that stuff go. You can't let the past hold you back. And I had to tell my brother, what makes you think I'm so sad? I am not sad. I'm very happy. After the life that I had, right? When I told you guys I should have been dead many times, I am not exaggerating. Any day above ground is a good day. Yes. I've seen people, right, on my journey who didn't make it. I'm still here. I'm in a relationship. I mean, it's not even that new anymore. It's been like 6 months to a year now, and I'm going to have to address that, right? Eventually, right? My mom used to say, either sit on the pot and poop or get up, right? What a metaphor. Anyway, yeah, I had to tell my brother, like, I'm very happy. Like, you know, this relationship that I'm in, right? I used to think, you know, when we were younger, we used to think, right? If we break up with our man, right? That man was our whole world, and our whole world would be falling apart, right, ladies? But as you get older, right, in life, right, and you learn some things, right? Men are just a small portion of my life, right? And there are way too many men out there to be sad about one. I work full time. I wrote a book. I love doing these videos, sharing my experiences, giving my people that's coming up behind me my knowledge. I spent the day with my grown daughter and my 7-year-old grandson, who brings me so much joy. I cooked for them. Both my parents are still here. I have relationships with them. Yeah, my sister's gone, but I still have my 2 brothers. She has children on this earth. I have aunts. I haven't even got to my aunties yet. I have cousins. I haven't even gotten to those relationships yet. When I tell you I am happy, I don't lose sleep. I have a little pill they call Celexa, 20 milligram. I take that by a certain time in the evening to bring me down from my day and get me into that calm mode. So when I get ready to lay down in my bed, I go right out. My bed is big, it's comfy, it's beautiful. Like, God has given me so much. So much to be happy about. Sad I am not. This is my journey. This is my gift, okay? So we're going to leave off there, right? Because we're really pushing it, guys. So I really hope that you guys got something out of this session. I gotta figure some stuff out because I want to be able to share music with you guys before my sessions to kind of get us in that space, in that atmosphere, right? But I gotta find music that is not gonna run into copyright issues and block my video. So we'll figure something out. Like I said, this whole technology stuff is new to me. I'm learning as I go. I get better every day. I encounter stuff along the way that I have to deal with. It is what it is, guys. Anyway, It is very late. Like I said, I had to do this video a second time. You know, earlier today I said to you guys, when I was talking about uploading my first video, right? I told you guys that I might do a second session, right? Later on in the day. And you see how my higher power works, right? I didn't get to do a new second session, but I ended up having to redo my first session. So in reality, I did do 2 videos today. You see how words come out your mouth and you don't even know at that time what you're speaking? Anyway, guys, I love this piece of jewelry. I know you guys see me fiddling with this all day, right? So as you guys know, I am Narragansett Indian, and I do enjoy, this is turquoise, I can't say that word, guys. You guys, I shared in my book, right, about my teeth, right, and the issues that I had. Like as a young girl, I talked with there's this thing with my teeth, right? When pronouncing letters or words that begin with TH and S, like there's certain letters, like they used to call it a lisp. But I used to suck my thumb so much, right? And I probably should have gotten braces when I was a kid, but mom wasn't there, so this is what I'm working with, right? Anyway, see, I jump around. But yeah, you know, this is so pretty, right? I love it. That, you know, Narragansett Indian jewelry, right? It's so pretty. So you have this one, and then there's this one. And they kind of overlap each other. My little trinklets. Anyway, guys, have a good night.